unhappy, now what?
What are you talking about?
Because you said happiness in the marriage because you just said that kids are part of it, right?
Let me explain it to you. You're conflating your happiness with how the kids are treated, right? I'm not even talking about the kids. I'm talking about you being happy, right? I just said that about sex, so don't act like you can't do it about everything else. So now that we have a baseline with that, you can fake it till you make it in front of them kids all the time. Now, kids have discernment. I understand that, but happiness doesn't mean everything has to be egregious in the household. However, we know ebb and flow. Is that a thing, or are we dismissing postpartum?
Postpartum depression.
Do we have menopause?
Right.
And so you guys go through these ebb and flow periods where your happiness is intrinsically not working.
But that's why I agree.
But I'm just saying. But you put it on the kids. Like, no, answer my question directly based on happiness itself.
I did, but I said it depends on how long I've been unhappy. Raising my kids in a house where there's no happiness is not
selfish.
That's not life goals.
Just for the sake to say I have a husband. Are you serious?
No, you made a commitment under the Most High God, right? Unless you don't believe.
Who cares about the commitment if I'm unhappy and I'm dying inside?
No, don't interrupt them, Melly. Sorry, Nikki, what you say?
I'm not staying unhappy for 10 months. You talking about 10 years?
Well, I've stayed unhappy for a very, very long time. But who is going to continuously stay in an unhealthy marriage where you're burning inside, you're dying inside, you done forgot who you are, you done forgot your self-worth, and you're just super unhappy, like depressed to that point, just to say I have a husband and I have a family? But
I think that we know how hoes are created. Callie said it earlier. Something about they ain't had their daddy, their daddy didn't love them. That's one. Secondly, most of these hoes been hurt by a man. Just like these niggas that been hurt by women, they become hoes. It's the same thing.
Savage.
Okay, so this is what I'm saying. Even with what Callie is saying, the lack of love, lack, hopelessness, a deficit, desperation. That's all the same umbrella. I'm desperate for the love of a real man because a man never loved me. So I'm out there searching for the love of a man. But because I don't know how to properly find love from a man because I never experienced it. So now from the worst experience that I've had and the damage that I've had from men, I'm telling you now I'm only going to use them for what I like them for because there's no possibility that they could ever even try to love me correctly. And I'm so lost on love, so in the deficit, I'll be desperate. And a lot of women have penis in. The girl come up here, Hamp, remember the girl that came up here who was cosplaying a man? She was a whole butch, calling the women male-centered up here. You're trying to become them niggas. Talk about worship when you think you're fucking up a storm because you're a man and you're acting like a man. That's male worship down to the ground.
So the women who are promiscuous, are we saying they're all desperate?
Majority.
I'm not saying that, but I know.
Yeah, I agree.
I feel like in my point in my life, I feel like I was being groomed to cater to him.
So at 18, when did you guys break up or stop doing each other?
When I was 21, turning 22.
So you went for about 3 to 4 years. How did you upgrade him?
Oh shit.
I think that I gave him a different perspective.
Well, you also feel like after you dated him, I upgraded you, and then all these women want you after what I did for you.
Bro, he was 18, bro. Like, you grilling him, bro. What the fuck?
No, it's hard to imagine an 18-year-old girl upgrading a 28-year-old man, but then you left curious, what could you have possibly really done to a man that age? Like, you don't have no money, you 18, you don't have much knowledge, you 18.
But what we're witnessing is cognitive dissonance. So there's no way you admonish the man by saying that you upgraded him and then in another breath say he groomed you. Mm-hmm. Those two things are diametrically opposed. Right? And then you said age don't matter. People could be wise beyond their years. However, when Tamia gave you the bail money about you being 18, you're like, yeah, I was just 18. Nah, because remember you just said that you had the wisdom and understanding of somebody older than that, which is what you would be able to bestow on him. Right? Ooh. So these things are conflicting when we saying them. Did you actually upgrade him or was you mad and talking shit to him because he cheated on you? Are most of us cowards? Are most of us willing to kill and die for our wife and children? Are we willing to defend ourselves? Do we know what it looks like when shit is hitting the fan? Do we know when danger is actually upon us? How many dangerous situations have we been in to tell? Do we know who we are in these ways? I'm gonna just tell y'all this. If you are in a real life situation and a person approaches you after an aggressive conversation, get yourself in a position in which you can defend yourself properly. So don't stay in a position that doesn't give you any advantage but put you at a disadvantage. Don't ever do that. I see people picking and choosing, you know? So if I'm going to approach you in an aggressive manner, then I should stay that way. Or else you look bad. That shit look corny. That shit don't look good for men. Because it's like, damn, is there a low-level threat of violence between men for real? But that's the word. We pump faking. We half stepping. That shit take away from our strength, our bravado, when we don't know how this shit's supposed to go. So this is a thing that I just been trying to process, man. Don't sleep on nobody. And be ready. Be ready as you can. The man says he got cheated on and you tell him he's the reason why he got cheated on because she didn't feel like she was getting enough emotional support from him, and you justify him getting cheated on.
And like I said, that's unfortunate. But the person that he
got cheated on, you would have been like, girl, that nigga ain't shit.
No, first of all, you don't know me, so you don't know what I would have said. I would have asked, well, what happened? What did you do? What did he do? I would try to get the full story. But to just go on this I hate women train, I'm not about to do that. Like I said, give us the full details. But to just act like everything was just shine the rainbow, sorry, Uno, but it's more to it.
Right.
So I just want you to realize real quick, she was emotionally deprived, and you think
then she entered a relationship with him.
But no, you can't add a speculation on what we do know based on what he shared, and somehow you're saying he emotionally deprived her. You think that correlates?
Because before she probably sexually had that experience with that man, she probably emotionally attached herself to him.
Why would you think that?
Because as y'all like to just say that women just go and just be loose and just have sex.
You do. Remember we had the conversation.
But the majority of women, they are going to emotionally, going to emotionally attach themselves to a man.
How?
And then the same way y'all know, the same way that y'all know everything that y'all done talked about all
No, what I'm saying is, how do you know that, and how can you justify that based on women's behavior?
Because it's statistics. Somebody do the research.
If she has a dream about me cheating, am I at fault now?
You did that shit.
You did that shit, nigga. You did that shit in your past life, man.
Damn, boy. So he got hit with a honey bun and it's his fault. Okay.
That's like a boomerang.
I mean, I don't know his situation. How much would you say yes or no?
Well, she let another man put his penis in her vagina. He didn't ask her to do it. She just went and did it because or whatever.
So, I mean, I don't know how necessarily it's his fault unless he, maybe he's seen the signs and just chose to ignore them. But other than that, like, I'm pretty sure you left after you found out.
Yeah.
So, yeah, he did the right thing.
Stepping away from it. So, is that an assurance for an apart?
Yeah. It's a podcast. It's a podcast. It's a podcast, yeah. Like, share, subscribe, tell a friend, tell a friend. DJ Hamp about to go live again. So hit the likes, my friend, on your way in. First off, salute the chat. And to all new cousins, welcome back. Heard you searching for the real, well, this is where it's at. The latest topics and panels, and brother, don't get sent to the bathroom. We got all the stats, too, back to facts in the morning or the afternoon. Tuesday, women's POV, 2 Fridays, dance and jamming tune. It's a community of real, and we better than the world news. This might be risky, I hope you know. This might be risky, let's go. This might be risky, no, I love you, real, I love it. This might be risky. Salute to DJ Hamp, it's time to start the show. Salute to DJ Hamp, it's time to start the show. Yeah, it's a podcast. It's a podcast. It's a podcast, yeah. Like, share, subscribe, tell a friend, tell a friend. DJ Hamp about to go live again. So hit the likes, my friend, on your way in. First off, salute the chat. And to all new cousins, welcome back. Heard you searching for the real, well, this is where it's at. The latest topics and panels, and brother, don't get sent to the bathroom. We got all the stats, too, back to facts in the morning or the afternoon. Tuesday, women's POV, 2 Fridays, dance and jamming tune. It's a community of real, and we better than the world news. This might be risky, I hope you know. This might be risky, let's go. This might be risky, no, I love you, real, I love it. This might be risky. Salute to DJ Hamp, it's time to start the show. Salute to DJ Hamp, it's time to start the show. Yeah, it's a podcast. It's a podcast. It's a podcast, yeah. Like, share, subscribe, tell a friend, tell a friend. DJ Hamp about to go live again. So hit the likes, my friend, on your way in. First off, salute the chat. And to back. Heard you searching for the real, well, this is where it's at. The latest topics and panels and brother, don't get sent to the bathroom. We got all the stats, too, back to facts in the morning or the afternoon. Tuesday, women's POV, 2 Fridays, there's a jamming tune. It's a community of real, and we better than the world news. This might be risky, I hope you know. This might be risky, let's go, let's go. This might be risky, no, I love you, real, I love it. This might be risky. Salute to DJ Hamp, it's time to start the show. Salute to DJ Hamp, it's time to start the show.
It's a stampede! DJ Hamp, the stampede. DJ Hamp, the stampede.
Yo, we here. Like, share, subscribe, tell a friend to tell a friend, man. Hit that like button right now if you can. That helps the channel the most. DJ Hamp, the Stampede. This might be risky. Pop up. We in the building. My apologies for today. I released enough premieres. I hope it got us through the day and all that. I was on travel. I was at the live show. Shout out to Truth Hurt. Shout out to Luck, aka Street Talk, in the building yesterday. The show was phenomenal. It was an in-person, just like podcast show. I was blessed to be the DJ, MC, and all that. You know what I mean? So that shit was dope. So, you know, hopefully the clips will be out soon and all that. The next tour stop is in Cleveland. We had a Miami show, but, you know, some things happened. So the next stop is in Cleveland. Then we'll be in the city, and then we'll be in Bridgeport. You know what I'm saying? So salute to the grind. Salute to the opportunities. You know what I mean? So what's poppin', man? Good to see y'all, man. I had to do this. This was on my mind while I was traveling and all that. So the HQ show will be on Wednesday, just for this week. Because, you know, we try to keep our schedules as consistent as possible. We don't like to miss nothing. So the HQ show itself will be on Wednesday of this week at the same time, you heard? So salute to Big Aaron. Mr. Fantastic, Shad, Cheeky will be front and center on Wednesday of this week. You know what I mean? But this is just a pop-up because I was just looking at this stuff. So I wanted to make sure I give my 2 cents, you know. I'll drop the link for a little bit before it gets too old. Because, you know, the news cycle is seemingly just so random and so quick, right? So microwave centric. Although, like, this trial, it really kind of came to my attention a couple days ago, maybe 4 days ago. But this is the 19th day of the trial, if I'm not mistaken. And, you know, even when people are dying, right, the news cycle's so quick. People generally don't get maybe the attention it deserves, especially when we're starting to see a thing that seemingly is trending, right? And how many is necessary for us to take a look at it and really scrutinize and assess it, man. Salute to the sponsor of the show, Direction CYEOP, to the bub in the building. Choose your own path. You see the commercial, make sure I go to the website. I'm sure one of the moderators will drop it. Some dope clothing, trendy clothing, shit like that. If you want that sponsorship spot, make sure you DM us or shoot us an email. We'll see what we can work out. Hit the like button, hit the like button, hit the like button, man.
Run! It's a stampede! DJ Hamp, the stampede. DJ Hamp, the stampede.
So I wanted to cover this one first in particular, just because, you know, we were talking about Trey, the brother you see in the middle, who was hung at Delta State in Mississippi. We also obviously see what's going on in Mississippi now. People who really probably don't live in Mississippi are calling black people to leave Mississippi. You know, Mississippi is mostly white, you know, but a lot of our people, a lot of our legends come from Mississippi. I think everybody from Chicago is from Mississippi, you know. So now people just kind of just calling, hey, get out of there. It's dangerous, you know. And then we got these hangings that are happening in a few places, Wisconsin, North Carolina, Mississippi, as an example. So I'm going to play this clip. I think this lady did a decent job of kind of giving us an update from like when the first ones were kind of happening in the last couple years. And we need to assess to see how serious this is, man, because, you know, what we do with information like this really matters. And I think we don't take enough things serious. What's up, Relly? Risky Midday in the building. You know, we'll be live in this front and center at 10 a.m. Central Time tomorrow. But how seriously do we take these occurrences, you know? So let's take a look and see what she had to say.
A 32-year-old black man was found hanging from a tree in Georgia this week, and police concluded it as suicide. suicide, while the medical examiner's review remained pending. It's not an isolated case. Since March 2025, at least 22 Black people have been found dead in suspicious hanging circumstances across the country. In September 2025, Dre Reed was found hanging from a tree at Delta State University in Mississippi, ruled a suicide before a full independent.
So the body of DeMar Travion Trey Reed, with 21, was found Monday morning hanging from a tree near the University of Pickleball courts. Campus police chief say Michael Peeler announced earlier this week. The incident raised questions by loved ones and led the university president to acknowledge that the scene and image could be upsetting to some students, given the history of racial violence in the Jim Crow South. It just seems like an odd and unrealistic way in which Black people would kill themselves because of the historical implications, but these things are being ruled a suicide damn near every time, if I'm not mistaken. Let's listen to
independent autopsy. In November 2025, 39-year-old Tori Medley was found hanging from a tree at a golf course in Wisconsin, ruled a suicide while the medical examiner's investigation remained open. In February 2026, 21-year-old Kyle Basinga was found hanging from a tree in Cobb County, Georgia, ruled a again. In nearly every case, families disputed the findings and requested independent investigation. Lynchings was used for generations to intimidate and terrorize Black communities, and the pattern of dismissing these deaths quickly is not a new one. Civil rights researchers documented over 70 suspected modern-day lynching cases in the Deep South since 2000, and found that a suicide ruling typically ends further investigation entirely. In case after case Black people found hanging, investigations close fast, conclusions are rushed, and families are left with a ruling and no answers. At a time when white supremacy activity is on the rise, the federal government has pulled resources from domestic extremism investigations, and the administration's posture has emboldened racial hatred. These deaths cannot be simply dismissed. Society as a whole needs to name it, demand investigations, and build the systems to make sure it cannot keep happening in the dark. A 32.
What do you guys think about her last few bars? She's saying, hey, this administration emboldens this level of behavior, right? People that are willing to do these things in these particular ways are empowered and emboldened by this administration. Put a 1 in the chat if you think that is true. Put a 1 in the chat if you give that particular statement credence. The second, what up? Salute to everybody, man. J Money, what up, baby? Good to see you, man. E-Dub and Fishing the Fit was first in the building, so salute to them. Dr. G, Cali. What do you guys think about that? Do you think that she's accurate? Like, obviously they showed the scene of that group, that did the marching and etc. They were on the train. Do you think that there is credence, real valuable credence to that? Right? Because my follow-up is, do we act like these things are really issues, right? Can potentially be harmful to Black people if there's an influx, right? And then an increase in, the emboldened nature of racist bigots, then what are we doing? What do we do? How do we change our modus operandi? Is it changed at all? Should it change? Because that's one thing I assess about concern is change behavior, would generally show us who's concerned. Rainbow, what up? Melly, what up? Kiff, what up? However, I see us moving around in particular ways that I just not so sure. Maybe I need to tap in with my fam that lives in, Raleigh and Roanoke Rapids and the Elizabeth City area. I'm going to show you guys the most recent case of this happening, right? So I seemingly ask, like, how do Black people adjust? What adjustments have we made? Do we have an uptick in gun ownership? Do we have an uptick in relationships? Do we have an uptick in coupling and marriaging? Like, how do we actually know and see that we actually take this type of stuff seriously? Especially when we're saying they're being empowered by the president of the United States of America. You remember, you don't have to apologize for being white anymore, said the vice president. Then you have white men fight back, and then you have these marches. You had the guy who was emboldened enough after he got his fight, and when they had the UFC event on the lawn, and he yelled out, Michelle Obama is a man, right? And he was mixed with boos and cheers, and that kind of makes sense, just given the landscape of the District of Columbia itself, right? There's a whole lot of people there who are pretty liberal, right? So I understand but it was a mix of boos and cheers, Trump in that instance took off the chain that the guy who said that had given him, But I'm just really assessing, like, how do we actually see these things? How seriously do we take them if it is indeed that real? right? So she said upwards, did she say 22 hangings or so? No, 48 hangings since 2000. In the last 12 months, it's been 10, I believe. And so the latest one is the one we see here. Let me bring this up. Hit the like button, hit the like button, hit the like button. Man, salute to everybody. Please share out the stream. I usually don't go live at this time, you know. So, share it out, like, share, subscribe. Let's take a look.
A death investigation in Roanoke Rapids.
For the second time in less than a week, local law enforcement looking into the death of someone found hanging.
WRAL's Monica Casey is live in Halifax County, where the Roanoke Rapids police chief just wrapped up a news conference. Monica?
Well, the chief's main message here today is that they are still investigating exactly what happened in Roanoke Rapids this morning. He says they received a 911 call from a person who was not at the scene, but was close to the person who died. Police here in City Hall today identifying that man as 38-year-old Demetrius Fleming. They say when EMS and police arrived at that scene on Roanoke Avenue, they found Fleming hanging from a ligature. Right now, they will not say exactly what that ligature was. During this press conference today, the chief acknowledged the implications of the hanging death of a black man. Is there any indication that leads you all to believe that anyone else was involved?
We're treating this as an equivocal death investigation, meaning that we're not working from any strict assumption. We have to, everything is on the table, and we're pursuing any and all leads.
Now, the chief here acknowledged the recent suicide death in Raleigh where another black man was found hanging. He says they cannot say that those two are connected and that they are still working to learn the motivations around why this incident here occurred. Live in Roanoke Rapids, Monica Casey, WRAL News.
So that's the most recent one in Roanoke Rapids, right? What is the population of Roanoke Rapids? It's a little place for sure. So 14,000 people live in Roanoke Rapids. You want to talk about country? Everybody I know from Roanoke Rapids is country. I think the township has a population of 21,000. I think that's the city's adjacent to. So just looking at that, right? And then the one in Raleigh that was just mentioned. And so the video that I played for you guys previously with the lady covering it, I think that video was released before this happened, but these are constantly and consistently being ruled suicides, right? And how do we really feel, think, and act regarding this shit? How serious do we take these things? How honest are we about the potential dangers, or is it having the conversation about it, overblowing it? I thought the mantra is you'd rather be safe than sorry, but what does safe look like? So here's one, and I didn't watch this clip myself, but I think it may have more commentary just based on it being TYT. I think that's the Young Turks. Now, somebody correct me if I'm wrong. I don't know if they're credible or not. I think there's a bias there. Would the TYT be like liberal leaning? Rashad Ritchie, like, is there an implicit bias? Before I play the video, I don't watch this content that much, but I seen TYT. I think that's the Young Turk. So when we watch it, I'm trying to gather the information, and we're going to watch it together in real time, right? There may be a bias put on the information, right? So let's just listen through that to hear the information. But I'm simply looking at 10 black people, at the very least, in the last 12 months have been hung, and they're saying that these are suicides. And just generally speaking, with the implication of hanging, I don't see how that makes sense for these black people to take themselves out in that way, right? Hit the like button, hit the like button, hit the like button, man. Let me see.
2026. North Carolina. What the trees have seen there. This time it's 38-year-old Demetrius Fleming, found hanging from a ligature in a residential area in Roanoke Rapids, North Carolina. This happened Friday morning. The last hanging we reported took place just last week in Raleigh, North Carolina. What's with all the hangings? Give you the details on this one. They're limited, but here's what we do have. Police Chief Lawrence Wiggins said Demetrius Fleming was already dead when emergency crews arrived on scene. Quote, "We're treating this as an open, equivocal death investigation. The Roanoke Rapids Police Department is committed," it says, "to finding the facts and reporting them," Wiggins said. "This investigation is in its infancy. It is important to neither make nor perpetuate assumptions as facts. Evidence will provide the conclusion. Anything else will create more confusion. An autopsy will be conducted." There's more on this one. "We are not working from any strict assumption," Wiggins said. "Everything is on the table." Wiggins extended his condolences to Fleming's family. The chief said the 911 call, which reported an attempted suicide, came from someone who was not at the scene but was close to Fleming. But perhaps that's a clue. "There are details that at this point we're not going to share about his personal life," Wiggins said. "I think it's important for us to get as much evidence and then weigh what we know about Mr. Fleming in light of the evidence we have, rather than sit here and say things that may or may not sway people's perception of what occurred." WRAL, the local affiliate, with the details. The nature of the death has drawn significant attention in the community. Speculation spread about what happened on social media. In downtown Raleigh last week, another man was found hanging from a tree. That man also died, and investigators ruled his death a suicide. We had the obituary. Demetrius was the proud and loving father of 9 children. He often spoke with immense pride and joy about his children, and his eyes would light up at the mention of their accomplishments. To them, he was not just a father, but a hero, a constant source of strength, an inspiration who always wore a smile despite any hardships he faced. Authorities will look further about what potential hardships he was facing, if any. There's a GoFundMe. You see the QR code. An organizer from Jacksonville created a dynamic map.
Yo, I ain't gonna lie. The GoFundMe scuffed my Timbs, man. Like, the lack of preparation is disheartening and like astonishing. So often we see when people are passing, right, these GoFundMes are produced, you know, because people can't afford to die. There's no preparation. I get it. We young and etc., but it's like we have no money anywhere. And now I'm saying it's not like I don't understand that, 80% of Americans live paycheck to paycheck, but I think it speaks to something a little bit more substantive, just generally speaking about, how the things that we don't have that we're so unprepared for, Now, one thing that's also that should be coupled with this and made mention of is the suicide rate for Black men increased even that over the suicide rates of white men in the last year, and so what is there to be said about that, right? And again, these numbers are being produced by who, so who knows what, right? And what can you actually believe? But usually, generally speaking, we look at these things as factual, right? And we've seen an uptick to this. Now, obviously there's women in these several Black people who've been hung, but it's just interesting to kind of just look at and compare. Roanoke Rapids itself is 50% white, 37% Black. Does that mean anything? Does that mean anything? I just want to put that out there. Let's finish the lesson, see what she had to say, right?
That tracks the hanging deaths of Black people since 2018. They go by @BlackBeltBabe or the People's Reporter on X. They wrote that of all the ones I've tracked so far, vast majority of the circumstances of the hangings are disputed by family. You see, it is devastating, but a necessary resource. It could very well be that Demetrius, a father of a necessary resource.
So her list is interesting here. So we have Oregon, several in California, We have New Mexico. We have Texas, looks to be in proximity to Houston. Alabama, Louisiana. What's this right here? Is that Arkansas? No. I can't really see it. But we got Tennessee, Georgia, Florida, South Carolina, North Carolina, Pennsylvania. Look like New York. Looks like Vermont. We got Michigan. We have Wisconsin. We have Illinois. We have Indiana. So, what do we make of all this? We keep playing it.
It could very well be that Demetrius, a father of 9 who talked about and was, by all accounts, loving of his children, lit up, lived for, perhaps, I think it's an appropriate inference, for his children.
It's actually, and that's the part that these type of things kind of are a little bit bothersome, right? Like, it's actually not the appropriate inference, right? You would infer that, right, to play into a particular bias. Now, maybe they're commentators, right? Maybe they're just content creators, well, more like me, as opposed to like news reporters, which means that you would then, based on what you want, the energy and stigma you want to create around the subject, is to infer that because you want it to play towards what it is you're trying to prove, And I just guess that maybe the Young Turks is what I assume, right? They have an agenda, and that's what they're going to convey, right? It's not just the news itself.
People can still be sad. People can commit the ultimate act, unalive themselves. But that's on the table, but that's not conclusive yet. I don't know, and I don't understand, nor should I or any of us be expected to understand, if you're not going through something difficult, why anyone would choose to die by hanging, if in fact that's what he did. But that's a question in my mind, particularly knowing what we know as people of color and those who are allies about what hangings of Black people in America signify. We all know, particularly in a state like North Carolina, what the trees have seen there. I often look up at trees, old trees, and I wonder, what has this tree seen? And you know what I mean. As I look at this map of hangings put together out of necessity, who wakes up one day and says, you know what? I think it would be fun to put together a map of hangings. No one. It's here because it's necessary. And the circumstances, as the person who put this together out of necessity noted, not everybody agrees with what the authorities say happened. So the families stay on it and the map gets updated. We'll continue to follow the story out of
North Carolina. We were having a conversation that was interesting, it kind of reminded me of something, adjacent to this. Like, you got like the Black Panthers or the Deacons of Defense. I forget the brothers in Chicago. I forget. Oh, no, sorry. Detroit. And a lot of these, the Bloods and the Crips, right? The GDs and etc. When Fred Hampton created the Rainbow Coalition, as an example, these are like people coming together in some semblance of militias to guard or protect against the authorities, the powers that be, because the protection or lack thereof, or the protection from, there's a disproportionate level, like who can you call? Who's the people that are actually, persecuting you, so to speak, right? Who do you need protection from? And so often in these many instances, it was the authorities, right? So the extreme doubt, or what's the word I'm looking for? Like, I don't know, just the doubt in the authorities, right? Does it make sense? Is there a reason why? Is there historical information that could substantiate why there's a distrust with the police and the reporting and etc.? But hanging just doesn't seem to make sense to me for Black people, like she stated, and I also stated, and I think most reasonable people seemingly agree. Why would that be the way? Especially in states like Georgia and in North Carolina, where they have open carry, where you can get a gun on the side of the street. When I was going to Elizabeth City, I bought a 38 for $25. Right? Just like at school, like, here, boom. Right? They had guns out the yin yang, you know what I'm saying? It's not the same like up north, you know? So I just don't understand why that would be the elected way to off yourself, you know? Like most people kind of want to go out quietly and all that, right? Hanging, I think you experience a level of that pain and distress before you pass, right? So it just doesn't seemingly line up. But again, I ask, right? What are black people doing? How do we look at these things? What do we respond with? How do we respond? You know, what are we doing differently? Has anything changed in your day to day? You know, has anything changed in your day to day, or is it just a news report on top of news report and we continue to move the same way? Right? With no, I don't know, like care, so to speak, you know? To me, I'm trying to assess it. You know what I'm saying? Like, does this make me move any differently? For me specifically, not especially. I'm decently vigilant. You know, I know where my kids are. I know where my wife is. We fortunate enough to like control our own schedules if things got too hot or, you know, necessary to where, all right, everybody got to come inside or not go to a place. You know, we have that level of autonomy because we don't work for anybody that say, okay, you stay in today, the kids stay home, you know, whatever the case is. So I don't know, man, but I just wanted to understand, right? When we have an uproar, we all need to also make sure that our behavior mirrors our concern. And far too often we are unprepared for so many things until it happens, right? There was a racist group, right? That's what was said, that marched on Washington a month or so back, that rode on the train in Washington a month or so back, right? And maybe it's a small group, it's just a cohort, you know, and it ain't about fear mongering, you know, it's just ready for, and have contingency plans for things if you think shit really hitting the fan, especially when it's continuously said that these groups are galvanized by the president himself, right? So if you believe that, I just want to make sure that you are moving in a way in which reflects that too. Because if you don't, you actually don't believe it and it's bullshit, you know? But if you saying that these groups are galvanized by the president, then it ain't just subsets. It ain't just small cohorts, right? If you saying that the president is a racist bigot, and now he actually puts a battery in the back of those groups, what is the behavior of the zealots of those groups? And so if you're making these type of assumptions, and I hope that your life mirrors you being that concerned. But if we still fat, if we still out of shape, if we still unprepared, if we still don't own a gun, if we don't train so we can't fight, I don't think you actually give a fuck. And I think you're just talking.
Run! It's a stampede! DJ Hamp the Stampede. DJ Hamp the Stampede.
Like, share, subscribe, man. Tell a friend and tell a friend. Hit that like button right now if you can. That helps the channel the most. So I covered this here on Instagram. A couple of people had sent it to me, and then I saw it while scrolling. And I was taken aback completely, to be honest. It showed several women in support of the lady last name Clancy. Have you guys heard about this? Have you guys seen this? What you guys think about it? Because I just look at children being dead, children being killed, children having their lives stripped from them. You know, I always say this thing about, they say that children and the elderly are most often harmed by women. I simply state the fact that, well, they have the closest proximity given the jobs that they do, right? Where if these people, children, elderly, are going to be hurt, it's likely going to be by people who are closest to them, right? So by proximity, you just have the most cases. And then when I look at this case, right, from the things I heard and saw, and the amount of justification for what's happening based on mental ineptitude, frankly, is disgusting to me, because somehow the kids being dead is being superseded by all those psychological things that happen, right? I acknowledge postpartum, you know. I've seen it, you know. I've seen it have an effect on somebody's body to where they don't look at themselves the same, right? They'll be saddened. It happened to my wife, like the hair falling out and etc. There was never a point within that to where my kids were in harm's way. And when I consistently hearing this argument, man, I don't know. It's just crazy. So let me play this clip here, because this one, I think I got the right one, where it's kind of capturing regarding like the mental strain or disorder that maybe took a hold at the time of this shit. Hit the like button, hit the like button, hit the like button, man.
Timed the errand so that she could kill her 3 young children. The trial.
So this lady here, from what I can remember, I think she kind of recaps.
Of Lindsay Clancy is igniting passionate conversation about maternal mental health. Here's what we know. On the evening of January 24th, 2023, Clancy is said to have sent her husband Patrick Clancy to pick up food and medication. Prosecutors allege that Clancy carefully timed the errand so that she could kill her 3 young children. Clancy's legal team doesn't deny she killed them. They argue she shouldn't be held criminally responsible because she had bipolar disorder and was suffering from postpartum psychosis.
Postpartum psychosis is much less common, so we believe it occurs in about 1 or 2 in every 1,000 deliveries. Patients have sudden, usually within 48 hours to 2 weeks postpartum, sudden loss of touch with reality. They may have hallucinations, delusions, and delusions are fixed false beliefs, hallucinations which may be auditory or visual, or hearing command voices instructing the mother to harm herself or her child. And there's very gross distortion of reality.
Court records say Clancy was prescribed 13 different psychiatric meds from different providers.
One of the things that you don't do, which is taboo, is if you have somebody that's bipolar, you don't put them on an antidepressant, you don't put them on Zoloft, you don't put them on what's called an SSRI, selective serotonin reuptake inhibitors. It messes with your brain. You don't do that, but it was done in this case.
Her legal team stresses she did everything she could to seek help, including going to the ER and checking herself into a psychiatric hospital.
And there are risk factors for postpartum psychosis. If they've had a history, personal or a family history of bipolar disorder, that increases the risk very significantly.
Clancy and her now ex-husband have filed lawsuits accusing her medical providers of failing to properly diagnose and treat her conditions. The trial has sparked wide-ranging conversation about maternal mental health and rallies in support of Clancy, calling for mental health reform. The trial of Lindsay Clancy is igniting passionate conversation about
What you guys thought? Let me play this other clip here, because it kind of goes into this as well. But yeah, let me play it.
I answer this in the context of the purpose of the MMPI and what the MMPI is designed.
What are you smiling for? This is not funny, sir.
Sustained.
Next question. Would you agree with me, sir, that postpartum psychosis waxes and wanes? It comes and it goes, right?
So, are you referring to a particular...
I'm asking you a simple question. Do you agree that postpartum psychosis waxes and wanes, that it can come out of nowhere and then leave, and a person can appear normal? They can even laugh. Would you agree with that, sir?
Are you referring to postpartum psychosis and illness, or the findings of psychosis in somebody who's postpartum?
I am asking you about Lindsay Clancy, the young lady that's sitting right here, that you're testifying against in front of this jury, telling this jury that she was responsible for the death of her children. You with me?
I'm not sure I understand exactly the context that you just stated.
Okay,
But
the
if your
context
question
I'm giving it
about
is
the natural course of an illness called postpartum psychosis. That illness has not been refined. It's not something that we in psychiatry, at least as far as I'm aware, can talk about as an illness where we understand its typical course. And we understand
time out.
All right, hold on. Let him finish. Doctor, you done with that answer?
I'm done.
Okay.
I answer this in the context of the purpose of the NMPI and what the NMPI is designed.
What are you smiling for? This is not funny, sir.
So the psychiatrist here, the doctor here, is saying that it's something that has been named but not substantiated. So I would assume, based on his answer, it's maybe not in the newest of DSMs. It's a speculation about this extreme nature of postpartum, essentially. So he's saying that you're naming this postpartum psychosis, but there is no actual designation or diagnosis that is named that as of yet. So I understand if I'm hearing it correctly, that's why he's saying I can't answer, because you're naming a thing that hasn't been substantiated, right? It's still maybe in a theory like trial basis, essentially, until it actually makes it into the DSM. It would be an actual designation for someone. You know, so this is an interesting back and forth. Yeah. Wanes and flows, comes and goes. And I'm telling you, right, and it's not being funny or obtuse. You know, I have a difficulty with like people claiming depression and all that. Like, I just, you know, because what can you say to me that's gonna say, yeah, right, your offspring, you killed your offspring because of this shit. My mom, she'd be judging like our wives or girlfriends when they was girlfriends or something like that, right? Like my brother's wife, she'd be like, Tashara might get on my nerves, but one thing I know, she love her kids. That is paramount. And you take the lives of 3 children and people make sense out of it. They got the caucasity to make sense out of this shit. Right? Like you're repeating a thing that the doctor's saying you can't even repeat. I just don't understand it. And I don't even know if I'm in the mood to understand it. The fuck I care about that. Your kids are your first and number one priority. So how do we get here? Yo, Clips, I'm on stream. I'm on stream. I'll hit you back. So I don't know. I don't see why I need to make room for that. I don't see why we have to give a level of understanding. I don't know who on the Most High's green earth where you like, oh, I'm empathetic because I had what are you talking about? When did you say, yeah, let me get my kids up out of here? Like, when did you say that? How do you even empathize? How do you sympathize? No matter how hard it got, when did any of the women right here, right now say, yo, let me get my kids the fuck up out of here? And now I think this is her defense saying it wanes and it this, that, and the third. When the dude right here, right? When the doctor said, because they said it on like kind of like he walked away from the mic, but the doctor said that she's responsible. Right? Because remember, the lawyer said it. You holding her responsible. Tell me about the psychosis. He's saying there is no designation. This is still in the theories testing. I don't know. That comment don't even make sense. I didn't even mention color. I'm talking about moms. I ain't say nothing about who, black, white, none of that shit. I'm talking about moms. But motherfuckers want to make sense out of everything for what? We in the upside down. So if I get too angry, if I get too upset, if I tell you I'm chasing demons, now you have to have a conversation with me about why I smoke somebody, why I kill somebody. Now, how do you even make that make sense, right? Yeah, no, the caucasity isn't about white people. See, you don't understand. You jump too fast. Listen, right? It's like we always get here over and over. What's up, OG Sigma? So that's my 2 cents on that, man. If we start to justify why the kids is being killed, why the kids are being deleted, why I gotta start thinking about mental health this and mental health that and psychosis, and that's bullshit, son. Right? They keep calling children gifts. They keep calling children gifts. A child is a gift from the Most High. But you lose yourself enough to where you off your kid, and now you think you're gonna get off because of that. The husband, she on 13 different medications. What are we doing? She on 13 different medications. She been admitted into a hospital. You know, it ebbs and flows, it wanes. It's not a real diagnosis. So they trying to figure it out as we go along, right? But if she bugging and there's an opportunity for her to be bugging, I'm gonna be a little bit more vigilant. It sound like boy ran to the market. He ran to the store and that's all it took. As a father, I would implicate myself in some way, shape, or form. That could be that over excessive accountability, but you just know that you the protector of your children, right? You are the protector of your children from whomever, they mom included. You know? So I think fathers just naturally implicate themselves in that way because you're always thinking there's something that you could do differently. My son had a traumatic birth, and I just felt so implicated in it because if there's something I could have said or done differently, that would have, alleviated that from having to happen to him, I should have did it, And there was a couple of things I saw that I kind of pulled back on talking, like when they was going through his, birth. And in hindsight, I'm like, damn, if I would have said this, that, and the third, it may have changed the trajectory. Now, all praise to the Most High, everything came out copacetic, but just the traumatic nature of it, I'm thinking as a father, there's something I could have done. Now, is that wishful thinking? Maybe, but that's how fathers should respond when their kids are hurt or implicated. But it's some sick shit, man. This might be one of the most selfish efforts. All those women out there, people saying, yo, postpartum depression. Yeah. We understand that it's tough. But I'm never putting a jacket on y'all saying that, hey, you would delete your kids because of that shit. You gotta draw the line somewhere, man. You gotta draw the line somewhere. Shit don't make no sense, man. Like, share, subscribe, tell a friend and tell a friend. Hit that like button right now if you can. That helps the channel the most. So I'll drop the link just for a second. Appreciate y'all for being here. This is just impromptu. Salute to the Risky Pop-Up. We haven't done this in a little minute. We usually keep it on schedule, but I was on travel today. For the most part today. And this was just on my mind. It's just on my mind to talk about these two things, right? The preparation or lack thereof. When we see black people being hanging, right? Just so I make sure I take out because if I say being hung, right, that's assumptive, right? I'm saying we're seeing black people death by hanging being most often ruled a suicide. You see the uptick. You saying that the president is a racist and a bigot. So now the racists and bigots are galvanized by him and doing X, Y, and Z, right? If so, what does your preparation look like? What's your life like? I mean, if it's the same as it was when Biden was in office, you just talking. You don't actually believe that shit. And then now we're here with the Clancy situation. 3 children, 3 babies are dead. And we there's a conversation surrounding her mental disorder needs to be acknowledged. And all I could see is these 3 children dead. Black, white, blue, purple. Come on, the kids, my nigga. The kids. What we doing? Hit the like button, hit the like button, hit the like button. Mr. Williams, what's popping?
Hey, how you doing, man?
Doing good, man.
See you, man.
How's everything?
Yeah, everything's going good, man. Little rough spots here and there, but that's family stuff, man. Like,
yeah,
a few deaths and stuff like that. But overall, everybody's doing good, man.
That's what's
this
up.
is real content. I'm very, I can relate to a lot of this shit. I just want to say thank you for even doing this one tonight. To be honest, because this is about awareness for real right now.
Yeah, what part of awareness?
Well, me and Erica, we found out we having a grandbaby. So that's one thing. So we got to help our daughter up even on the postpartum stuff because times have changed. I've been a part of that with some of my kids, the mothers, how they felt or what have you. They didn't never want to, hurt the kids, but you could tell that things were off. But my mom went through it with me when I was younger. And my father had to step in with that with my mom. So postpartum is really, really real. Like they do feel some type of way, but to take your kids' lives though is rather different. Like it's really harsh. That means you didn't even care about yourself if you're gonna kill something that came from you, to be honest. That means you don't have God in you. You don't have any of that to take your kids' lives. Like we seeing it every day that people are losing their children. They're burying their children before they go. That's the most disheartening thing to me because that means you're very selfish. You would kill something that you gave life to, that God blessed you with. I can't respect it. I've been losing friends lately even in the past 2 months. Some of my friends, they actually, off themselves. And you don't know what somebody's going through or whatever, but it's still selfish because you have kids. You're doing something to your children. They have to remember that they don't have you anymore. They didn't ask to be here, but they used to saying daddy and dada. You know what I'm saying? Like it's just very disheartening right now when I seen that stuff, even when you showed the stuff going on with the hangings, the children That broke my heart. To see what the mama, like, that broke my heart even more. You brought these kids in this world.
You think what you think about this? I don't particularly have a lot of empathy or sympathy for suicide. Is that
Yeah,
bad?
I don't either. No, because we know what it is. Like, we know that's a cop out. We know life is hard and everything. I just feel like you gave up and you can still fight. And I don't like the fact that when people commit suicide. You know, my grandfather committed suicide. He had mental issues. He had a lot of shit going on, but that's what William Singer did. Never got to meet him because but it is a cop out because I wanted to know more of my lineage. I need to know all of this so I can pass it on to what I've created through you. So I have a lot of anger when it comes to that. Committing suicide. I do. Like, it's just, I don't know if it's a double-edged sword. I don't know what we supposed to say, but I just can't be politically correct about it when I feel like you're being selfish. You took your own life and you have a multitude of people that love you. Like, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, 100%. I think the selfish aspect of it, man, it's just only about you, especially when you're a person responsible for people, right? So I don't see it right, and I want us to be very keen on making sense out of shit like this, rationalizing, saying, hey, postpartum and psychosis, because that does a disservice for the women who have postpartum, right? And their hair's falling out and this, that, and the third, right? And they really going through it, but they pushing through it, right?
Yeah.
And now you saying, oh, I'm hearing voices and all this other shit, right? And you offed your kids. Like, what level of scrutiny does that happen when it's, women really, and I don't, I just.
Well, the one thing is help. They need to seek help though. And I know you don't like therapy, but a lot of women who've had it have done therapy. Or either they had a doctor that actually helped them work through it because we don't know what they go through hormonally. We know because it's a rough thing with them when they hormonal, but that's a different level when you take your kids' lives. Or it's been a story even when I was younger. Women were driving their kids in station wagons and shit to the river and killing their kids.
Yeah, I think I remember that one.
Like, they literally been doing this all this time, so we know there is a mental aspect, but these women need help and they need support.
Yeah, I see, and I think about Ray Caruth.
Yeah.
Right? Where that mom got shot in her car, still tried to call the police to save her baby, even though she was gonna die.
Yeah.
She died,
Yeah.
I just seen that shit, man. And then you see a bunch of women talking about, oh, there's a reason why this, this is, the postpartum and the psychosis is real. This ain't the time. Right? Because you keep forgetting that the kids are dead. 3 of them.
Yeah.
You seen them?
3 lost their lives. That was so sad, and it's like, because I know, I have a gang of women in my family, because there's more women in my family than men anyway. But I've seen those lows or those highs, but I'm always one of the, I'll babysit. If you need a nap, whatever the hell you need, because it ain't easy, especially when you're single. You gotta help these babies though, because if you don't help the women and the baby, then the fuck are we doing? It don't matter about nobody's mistake. Even husbands go through it more than anybody, because you watch your wife actually go through all the emotions. She can be sad. She might want to
Nah, see, this
breastfeed.
the other thing, right?
Yeah.
See, the women might have been built different, man. We had that conversation about what was true, wasn't true. My mom say this. She's like, "Why you always got them kids?" She's like, "You need to be working or something, man. Give her them kids, man. Why you always got them kids? Let her deal with them kids." That's what my mom be saying. And mind you, it's 5 of us, right? So it ain't like she never had a bunch of kids under her at one time. You know? She's like, "Why you always got them kids? Give them to their mom." You see? She like, "You need to be working. You could be string. You could be editing. She be this. You could be out on the truck with the guys. You could take one of them spots that way you gotta save money, right? Because if I go work the spot, then that's one less person I gotta pay, right? That's how my mom be talking. She ain't my fault. I said, "How many Pampers you changed your whole life before your grandkids?" He like, "Maybe 5, maybe 3." I think he said 3. Nigga got 5 kids. He said 3. Like, you know what I'm saying? He like,
Yeah.
yo,
I
he like,
ain't gonna lie. Hey, I was one of them in the middle of the night. Even now, doing with grandkids and everything.
yeah,
Hey,
yeah. No, I'm just saying, but I'm highlighting that point to say,
yeah,
yo,
times have,
when the
like,
going got tough, the tough got going, man.
yeah,
You know,
it's
so
true. Like,
it's just interesting, man.
but even when I'm seeing like with some of my nieces and stuff and everything, like
Yeah.
they're new mothers and stuff, and their kids are 1 and turning 2 and everything, and me and my wife try to help them out as much as like we understand it. We get it because we're older, but you don't want these kids, even though you could have told them to wait. But hey, they grown. Only thing you can do is help out. But when they going through this postpartum shit and everything, that shit's real. It's real, like, because you got to think you're dealing with somebody who just came out of adolescence, just became an adult. Now you claim to be grown because you're 21, 22. You're not fully grown all the way. You're trying to figure it out. Now you had a baby.
Look at this, right? So Fifi bringing some interesting info. This is really an issue, man. Right? So she just named a few things about how they'll just lead a kid with the mom regardless of the history and all that, you know? And that, see, it's almost like, yo, hell or high water, right? The mom is okay. The mom should still have the kid. She got to be damn near dead for the father to get the kid. You know, you hear that so often, right? And then the amount of support for this lady, this is more concerning than even just for this lady, because who is working as social workers, right? Who does these work to say, yes, this kid should be allocated here or there? And if we're making so much sense out of a thing that is nonsensical, right? How are they being? Who's running DCF? How is it being policed? Who's really scrutinizing? Are they saying, "Oh, it should be okay. Oh, it's the medicine. We could." How many kids could potentially be in danger? Because Fifi is pointing it out, and it makes a lot of sense.
Majority of kids, even now, that are in foster care, they are more at risk to be harm to be done to them, because they're not their biological kids. They know they're getting a check for these kids, but just me understanding this system and what the hell I've been through with it. No, bro, it's just a double-edged sword, and they not doing their job. And nobody said everybody should have kids. We know that everybody shouldn't have kids anyway. But even when you have these precious little babies that actually need some shelter or whatever, it don't help them the fact that they don't even have help from the system for it.
Yeah,
because it's all a money exchange.
yeah. Most time I've seen it when people got reallocated. Most oftentimes I've seen it where they kind of go with other family members, you know. But even then, who knows how to love it? So I understand. Thank you, C. Rob. Salute my brother. Salute to the OGs in the building. Appreciate you, man. Yeah, man. I had a long day. I'm tired. You know what I'm saying? But
Yeah,
I
me
said, yo,
too. It's just when you was when you came up and everything, I was like, okay, he's heard. And then I started listening and everything. And I was like, man, I got to prep for tomorrow or what have you. But I'm like, hold up. He's talking about some shit I actually have been a part of, understand. It's not always right. But we still got to, no matter what kind of help you get, you have to get people help. Because there's always going to be some people that just, they don't have a help. They need that push. They need that extra thing to keep going. That's why I love the fact of what you do, because you make people keep going, bro. You really do.
No doubt.
You got the old people in my family watching you and they be out.
Yeah, man, it's good, man. It was good. Yeah, man. I missed today's show, so but we're gonna do the HQ on Wednesday to make up for it. I think we got a great show planned as well. But obviously Relly and I'll be on tomorrow talking about the caste system. So that should be an interesting point, But Mr.
I'll
Williams,
be listening to Cloud, man.
No doubt, no doubt. Salute, man. I love you, man. I appreciate you. You heard?
Love you more, man.
I'll see you tomorrow then. Salute to Mr. Williams for coming up, man. Listen, I'm just thinking, man, we make sense out of a whole lot of stuff, and it's time out for that. And then we justify why not to do the things that make sense. We want to justify and normalize things that are perverse, things that are unbecoming, whether it's behavior or circumstance. As soon as we get implicated, we want to tell everybody why what we doing or what we got going on is okay. Right? And then the caucasity to understand this is diabolical. It's disgusting. It's despicable. All right? And I ain't do all the, talking like how I be talking on Friday, because this need to be more, like we don't need to sensationalize this shit. But we moving at a snail's pace, man. Moving how we moving, especially when things are obvious. These things are negative. Now, if you read the 80 books, I think you already know what's happening, what's coming, right? What's New Babylon? What's Sodom and Gomorrah? There's so many things that have already been prophesied, So if you read, the Abrahamic text in the Bible, and then you understand these things are happening, right? People are paying for the sins of their forefathers. It was said in Isaiah 14, and I think that verse is so revealing to end times and what was actually happening, and what was happening in Babylon and in what's New Babylon and what will happen today, right? So it goes, deeper and deeper once you really start to understand, Ecclesiastes 13, right? 12 and 13, fear God and keep his commandments, man. That's the whole duty of man. So if you follow those instructions, you'll get further faster and you'll be better off and you'll be safer. All right. Those instructions simply keep you out of harm's way. And I think it would behoove us as black people to do those things. All right. They'll keep you whole. They'll keep you sane. They'll keep you straight. You don't have to do a bunch of guessing. It's hard to come up with your own playbook, All right. And so fortunately you don't need to, but all this shit happening, man, stay abreast of it. Stay aware, man, and read. Come in a Discord every week. I got to get more consistent with it. I just be so busy. We do like quick hits where we go through a couple verses about a couple different topics or a concept. And hopefully that helps people, right? Just understand, right? Things become interesting the more you understand them. But yeah, come in the Discord. Also, if you need a place to emote, to talk shit, to talk to somebody, come in the Discord. If you need a place to work out, come in the Discord. If you want to read a book, but it's hard to do it by yourself, come in the Discord. If you need some dope jams, salute to Cali, come in the Discord. All right. You need to commune with people. Healing doesn't actually happen by yourself. Think about that. People go on these healing journeys where it's them and nobody. How? When have you ever seen somebody heal like that correctly? Oftentimes people need to heal or they get hurt. They go to the hospital where it's a bunch of experts and other people that support you. The nurses say, hey, are you okay? You need something? You want food? You want water? How you feeling? How you feeling this morning? Let's get up and get you moving, etc. Right? But now somehow we think we're doing this healing by ourselves. Right? Ecclesiastes 4. 2 is better than 1. If I fall, my man with me, he can help me up. If it's freezing at night and I'm sleeping next to my wife, guess who ain't cold? People think they got all these answers though. Meanwhile, niggas is dying by hanging, and you think you could do this shit on your own. You don't think you gotta listen to nobody. You don't think you need to submit to nothing. Okay. We're gonna see, man. We're gonna see.
Run! It's a stampede! DJ Hamp the Stampede. DJ Hamp the Stampede.
There he is. Salute, my brother. Thank you for the $20 donation via Cash App. He said for the goal. Good shit, y'all. Leslie. Salute, my brother. OG Sigma, Marcus, Construct Icon. Salute to my OGs. Homeboy, Shalom. My brother Daily, of course. Impress. Yoli, Shalom. Angel, American Negro. Salute, my brother, as always. Impress. Mr. Williams. Cal Lee. I know I missed some people. My auntie Low Key. Salute. DeCarlo was good, my G. Journey Shift in the building. I'm 100 always. OG Sigma. Rainbow Kid. Think and Throw. Salute. Thank you, C. Rob, for the donation. Fifi, thank you for the contribution. My brother J Money. Brother Number. Salute, my G. And a host of others, man. So we had about 200 people in here tonight, just on the impromptu. Sozan, salute. Free JDC, of course. And if I miss people, I humbly apologize. Convergence, salute. I'll see y'all tomorrow. We're talking about the caste system, man. See if you could think about what that means before we get there. I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. Be safe and do the right thing, man. Like, share, subscribe. Tell a friend to tell a friend. And we out.